Hello friends, I am Chevee. Welcome to my shed. How are you today? How's life in your world? How's things where you are? Hope it's good and great and wonderful. Hope you had a great weekend. I had a wonderful weekend. Spent lots of time with Em playing Sleeping Gods, which I'm going to do a video about soon. And I also got to spend Saturday with my child at a concert. We went and saw some live music. It's the first time I've seen live music since 2019, I think. I think that's accurate. And I thought about this topic the other day, like before we went, and then we went, and then it put a little pin in my point, and that is, most of the time, I much prefer live music to recorded music, and I'll tell you why. So, we went to see a musician. My daughter introduced me to him, actually, about a year ago or so. She introduced me to a guy named Amigo the Devil. His name is Danny, and Danny was formerly a metal artist, and he started doing this what he calls murder folk. And it's, man and a guitar, man and a banjo folk music, but he writes a lot of songs about, murder and serial killers and that sort of stuff. And those are my least favorite songs of his. He has quite a few songs that resonate with me that are internal reflection type songs or just songs that are filled with passion. And one of my favorite songs of his is called Hell in You. And the first version that I listened to was on YouTube, and it was like a kind of a live-ish recording of just him and his banjo on a rock playing this song. And it was so passionate and so it made my hackles stand on end or whatever. Goosebumps, I think we call it. Okay. And so I bought his albums because I like to support musicians, and I don't really like the albums. The album version is just overproduced, and I think there's something especially when it comes to like a more folk type music, a music that is telling a story or that is inspired by passion. There's something you can tell when a person is writing a song for themselves versus for the rest of the world. And when they're writing it for themselves, when they're writing something that is they're getting something out of themselves, or they're getting something out into the world, there's passion that comes with that. As opposed to just bands that write, arena rock. They're just writing songs because that's what they do to make a living. And so even an artist like Danny, when he writes a song like Hell in You, going into a studio, it becomes like the producer's job to put a whole bunch of BS in with the track. And so now there's, all these instruments, and there's sound effects, and there's woos and noises, and it's just like, no, we don't need any of that. We just need this dude and his banjo. There's literally no need for any of the extra production, because not only does it cheapify the feeling, it removes his ability to be in the moment. Because when you record a vocal track 10 times and you cut out the quote best ones, it removes the feeling, it removes the passion from the performance. And there's something very, very, very strong about that live performance when it's somebody who is writing from the heart. And Saturday night put a point on it, I much prefer his live recordings over the studio versions, and seeing him Saturday night was this is how it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be this way. On top of that, he had an opener, and I'm telling you about some weird music. The opener was Trejo Street Corner Thieves. They call themselves junk grass. they were a bluegrass style band that wrote their songs were they're very high energy. Like, people were moshing to this band, and at that particular show, it was just the banjo player, the bass player, and a washboard player, and there was nobody else. They said they had a guitarist, but he wasn't along for the ride, so it was just the three of them, and they freaking tore it up. It was amazing. Like, they were really, really good. Like a half an hour of their music, and both me and my kid were like, I really like these guys. And so I left. I didn't buy their CDs because I don't have a CD player. I figured I would just get their music online, put it in my playlist rotation. And I went online to find their music, and it's not nearly as good as their live performance. Their live performance was phenomenal. It was so freaking good. It was just over the top. It was super high energy. They up-tempoed all the songs. It was just, man, just being there in that moment, it was awesome. You go listen to the studio version, and it's just kind of like, okay, like that's a thing you did. Kind of wish I could just have a recording of the concert the other night, because that was badass, And I think it goes for like almost all genres of music I enjoy. I'm an old school like grunge guy. I still absolutely love Pearl Jam. I would rather see Pearl Jam live and listen to live concerts than listen to the studio produced versions. And to give Pearl Jam credit there, they very rarely overproduce. They very, very rarely overproduce. They do things kind of the quote Led Zeppelin way of like, let's just record and then that's it, right? And so they don't do a whole lot of that editing magic to try to make every drum beat sound perfect and every vocal track sound perfect. They just kind of go for it. I also like a lot of EDM, I guess. I don't know what you would call it. And that's harder to do live. But man, Saturday night was it was a great time. And not only that, we were at a venue in Pittsburgh called Mr. Small's. It's an old church. It's actually really beautiful if you go look up Mr. Small's Theater. It's a church that they've turned into a music venue, and they have excellent sound treatment. It's basically just a stage, and where the congregation was is where you stand. There's no seats. There's a couple balconies you can go to. They have bars. They have a cafe downstairs that has coffee and bar products. It was really nice, a really nice venue. First time I've been there, in a really quiet little suburb of Pittsburgh, and it was a really wonderful show. That being said, they made sure that everybody was vaccinated. You had to be vaccinated or have a COVID test within the last 3 days to get in. Like you had to show your card and your ID, and they were scrutinizing everything. That felt really nice. All the staff was masked. I saw maybe 4 people in the crowd that were wearing masks, which was fine, because they were really stringent about the vaccination policy. They actually had like a on-site test place. If the people showed up and didn't have their vax card or their test, they could go get in this line and get tested live there, and then maybe get into the show later. That felt really awesome. Really cool venue. It was a really good time. It was, it was a trip for my daughter. It's her 17th birthday this week, so it was really wonderful to spend some time with her. And I'm going to miss her birthday this week because I have something else similar coming up, which I'll tell you about probably next week. So, live music. Let me know what you think. Given the choice between live music and studio music, do you have a preference? I'd like to know in the comments. Thank you for being here as always. Thank you for liking, commenting, subscribing, being amazing friends and wonderful people. I really appreciate you, and I'll see you again tomorrow. Today's word you should know to sound smart is hypothecation. It is a noun meaning the practice of using property or other assets as the collateral for a loan. Buying stock on margin is a useful form of hypothecation that encourages unsophisticated individual investors to buy more stock than they can afford. Hypothecation. Yeah. Hypotecation. there's a hypothe, hypothecation, right? Hypothecation, whatever. Yeah. Hypothecation? Hell, I don't know. I don't have a hypothesis.